Hi, everybody. So I was looking at my dehydrator, and if you saw the other episode about cleaning out the dehydrator, I talked about this a little bit. But what we've got right here, I'm going to show you. These berries are black, so you can't see them from where you are, but I'm going to pull them out for you. Okay. So they look like this. Pretty simple stuff. I'm going to smell them. This is a good way to find out if your body wants them or not. My body's pretty neutral on these. And the way that I got these berries was that my neighbor had a tree that overhung into my driveway, and it had all these berries that fell down. They were different colors. Sometimes they were green, sometimes they were purple. You know, kind of like hackberries, kind of like elderberries, but not either one. And so I thought, well, let me pick some of those. And it took me a while to be able to get my body to do that. But once I did, I put some in a jar. They seemed dry to me when I picked them. They were sun cured at that time. And so I put them in a jar. Well, then I opened the jar a month or so later, and some of them were deteriorating. So I could tell there was still some moisture in them that was going to be breaking them down. So I've cured them now in the dehydrator. And by cure, I just mean I put them in there and I turn the dehydrator on. I always turn it on the lowest setting because I have a dehydrator that they used to come in lower temperatures to do more raw food. They don't really come that way anymore. And so if you want to do something raw dried, you have to just like barely turn the thing on so that you don't get it too hot. So I want to always preserve as much nutrient activity as I can in my dehydrated stuff. So I want to keep it as raw as I can. So now we have these. They also have their little stems on them. These are very hard now, so you wouldn't like eat them. But what we're going to do is we're just going to store them in a jar, and then we'll have those. I also have bought some Icelandic vodka so that I'll have a very pure vodka to make tinctures out of. Iceland has very, very pure water, way, way better than ours. And so if I need to make a tincture, and when you're making tinctures or any kind of kombucha, etc., then the chemical makeup is going to sort of amplify its effects if you are doing it right. So you don't want to mess around and use kind of sort of good ingredients. You want to use the best you can get. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get a little jar. I'm going to put this jar up. I was getting it for another demonstration, but now I don't need it for that. Just in the past few minutes, that has developed. So just your basic jar. And what you can do, if you're new to dehydrators, there's lots of tricks that we learn just over time. And I mean, I've been using dehydrators for over a decade. And there's still just stuff I discover that I'm like, oh, that's a better way to do that. So I'll share that with you today to the degree that, that I can. So what I'm going to do here is you're going to take, this is a waffly, it's probably silicone situation here. And then I'm just going to pull it together to make a little funnel. And you can see I've got some other stuff in there. This is just like leftovers from my citrus drying, because it's got a sticker in it. All those crazy stickers they put on all the produce if you buy them at the store, which to me is like the prime reason why I don't want to buy produce in a store. Never mind how they're filling up landfills, but also they're just incredibly annoying. So I'm going to put this back in here. But you'll notice that my dehydrator is open. That is not because we're doing a demonstration. That's because I generally keep it open. The reason I do that is because if I have an avocado or I have a lemon rind or something that if it goes into the dehydrator right away will stay really well, but if it doesn't, it won't. And I'll have to end up composting it. I want to make it as easy for myself as possible to make myself want to throw it in there. So that does mean that I waste some energy having the dehydrator on all the time. But relative to the amount of nutritional waste I would be having, I think it's smaller because that nutritional waste, all that stuff that I'm getting is coming from across the country and wasting lots and lots of energy getting here. So that's why I have opted for that method. I haven't seen anybody else doing that, so that's why I mentioned it in case it is useful for you. So just like in my last video, I'm going to date these. I call these neighbor berries, and I call them that because then it reminds me that they come from the neighbors. Now, note, I did not steal them. I did not, and I didn't take them from any area on my neighbor's property. I just took them from my driveway. And it's important to note too, don't take them from the part of the driveway that cars are actually going in and out of. This is only from the part of my driveway where there's no exhaust, there's no activity. And normally I wouldn't, I mean, I'm not going to do intentional planting on my driveway. Like that's still not a great idea. But with those, there were just so many droppings. So I hate to have them just all be wasted. So we're going to just try this. And where's my silver pen? You want to have a silver pen or a white pen for items like this that are black, that if you put black on the on the background of it to label it, you won't be able to see it. So it's going to call these neighbor berries. And that also reminds me, hey, be a little careful. You don't really know what these are. Just, you know, be smart. Okay. So neighbor berries are done. Let's see what else we've got in here. Ooh, that, I don't even know what that is. I don't know what that is. Okay, these are turmeric bits. I buy turmeric fresh and then I dry it. Sometimes I dry it like this. And if it's getting old and you don't have time to go to put in the food processor, because you know it's turmeric, so it'll stain, so you got to really do the full wash of it after. Then just do it like this. Do the best you can. You can always at least make tea out of this. And if you have a strong food processor or coffee grinder or something, you will be able to grind these up later. So I'll show you what these look like. They're just little shrivelly dudes. Okay. So we're going to put these also in a container. And these still smell kind of fresh, right? So it's cool to still have that option. So they're just going to go in there. Oh, this is funny. This has the neighbor berry label on it. So I'll switch the lids here. Usually I just wash off the lids. So then they're ready for a fresh label. But in this case, I didn't. Probably because it wasn't dirty, because the berries in it weren't dirty. Okay, so this is called turmeric. Turmeric. And I am going to date this. I'll call this February of 23, 2/23. Because you just want to know approximately when you're doing this stuff. So that as you make more, you'll know which one to use first. Good. Okay, so that's that part cleaned up. And now we're going to put away the, it always reminds me of Muppets. Doesn't it look kind of Muppety? I'm going to put these down here. And we're going to put this in a container. Now, I haven't done this before, so it'll be a little bit of an adventure. And a little bit more of an adventure than we probably want. But here we go. Because this is where you really want a wide mouth container. Can you tell? Yeah. In fact, I do have an old kombucha, or a jar I usually use for kombucha, I should say. And it does have a little bit wider mouth. So I think we'll use that. Okay. And the reason I'm doing this actually before I clean the kitchen, it's Saturday, so I'm going to clean the kitchen, is because I have to remind myself we're the messy homestead. So just a reminder that you can still, you know, get chores done in a less than perfect environment. And that's okay. Okay, so here we go. So you will see here in a moment, I'm going to take off some of the super extra part. Okay, there's a lot here, right? So I'm going to start off not just funneling it in. I'm going to start off putting it in separately here. But this is very dry. And this has been in here for kind of an embarrassingly long amount of time at this point, but it kind of needed to be also, sort of, because I just put the whole wad in here and it was frozen. So this inside now part feels kind of spiky, very dry. You need that. You need it to be all the way dry. So, and this little bit here, yep, that's okay. So I don't know yet what I'm going to use these for. I do try, when I juice, I try to keep things kind of separate so that you don't have, so that if you end up drying it later, you're not going to have things that super don't go together. So these are okay. These are mostly greens. And then you'll see some orange here, which is the turmeric. And that's okay. And it looks like I've got some old kind of ginger peel too. Remember, you don't need to peel your ginger. It's just, whatever's the outside is completely fine. If you're getting ginger where you can't eat the peel, your ginger's probably so old that you can't eat the rest of the ginger either. So, okay, I'm going to smash this in there a little bit. You can see it makes quite a lot, right? So throwing it out is a real decision point. In the future, because we're trying to figure out, how to live well without refrigeration, without, being electrically dependent. I thought, I've got to stop relying on my freezer to do everything, my freezers to do everything. So, this is just one of those steps. Like, I don't have it sorted out yet at all. I've still got 2 main freezers and then 1 small deep freeze, and then 3 kind of medium-sized walk-in things, or not walk-in, but non-deep freeze. How do you say it? The ones that open on the side, side door, open ones, that are kind of Euro style, Euro size. So we're getting all this out of here. It's kind of stuck in there at this point a little bit. I think what I'm going to do is transfer it to the one that doesn't have a bunch of holes. That will make an additional mess. Yep, that's what I'm going to do. Yep. Wrong container. There we go. Okay, and then I put the rest of these little, it's almost powder. It's like kind of tea level of powder in here. And who knows, you might choose to make some tea with it. But that way you've got that. And what I am going to do is, if you have a little brush, if you keep a little toothbrush or just a little brush of some kind in the kitchen, I might do that actually, because if I had that, I could brush all that out. And I don't mean one that you use for other stuff. That would be bad. But if you have one that you don't use for other stuff and you could dedicate to this purpose, that'd be really wise. And see, that's the kind of thing that I didn't know until right now. And it's good to be able to share with you. Okay, so look at all this. We have a whole jar. I really was questioning myself for a long time about keeping all that pulp. But look how much this is. This is a lot of stuff. So since a lot of us don't get enough fiber, I certainly don't. And, we're buying fiber. We're buying all this stuff. So this is good to keep. Let's see. I'm going to call this veg fiber. And you can see the silver really is not doing the job here. So sometimes you don't know if it's silver or black marker material until you do it. And then you're like, oh, right, that didn't work. And I have to do it the other way. Veg fiber. Okay. It's a little messy. It's okay. That's what That's why we're called what we're called. Okay. So that is good savings. And we'll use that in some other videos, and we'll see how it works to use it. So hope some of that was helpful. You gained a tip or two, and I'll see you next time.